Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome. I'm Krystal Diaz. I'm a vocal coach and singer and co-founder of the Online Vocal Academy. And welcome to my second live stream interview. It's part of a series that I'm doing called Ask the Expert. And I created this series specifically for our Inner Circle monthly members who have been on this journey with me since the beginning of May, which is when we launched. And I thought, you know what, we're doing these great interviews and inviting these guests to come in and share their expertise and share their experiences with us. I'm like, I don't want to deny this to everyone else that follows us on social media. So now we are broadcasting this live, this section of the interview. So how this is going to work, this is part one of the interview, and this is for the public. And part two will be exclusive content for Inner Circle members. So Inner Circle members, if you are watching right now, stay tuned for part two, because that's going to come up about 5 minutes after this interview wraps. And of course, if you guys are online, be sure to send us a message, pop a little comment. We are watching the comments here. If you have any questions for our guest, just pop it in the chat box, and we'll check that out. So today's guest, I am so excited to be interviewing this next guest. Her name is Amanda Restivo. And Amanda and I have known each other for quite a number of years now. And actually, we first met because Amanda worked here at the studio as one of our coaches here at CSMA Studio, which is located in Hong Kong. And she worked with us for about 3 years. And ever since she moved back to LA, we've been in touch. And we've always been talking about doing some collaboration. So I'm so excited that we get to do that today. So a little bit about Amanda. She is a vocal coach and also an incredible singer. But she's also a specialist in a very unique workout called vocal yoga. The first time she told me about vocal yoga, I was super intrigued from right off the bat. I mean, vocal, I understand that. Yoga, I also got that. I understood that. I understand the benefits of the both, but combining them together was so unique and incredible. I'm just like, I have to learn more. So you have to come on and share what you know, and share. We're going to see what if she can share some great tips and takeaways for you today as well. So Amanda has been a professional singer for over 20 years. She's toured internationally with award-winning stage productions. She's been a vocal coach for almost a decade, and she's trained with some of the best voice and body experts in the industry. And of course, she is a certified yoga instructor as well as a certified vocal yoga expert. So we're gonna bring on Amanda to our live stream. Here we go. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. I'm so happy to see you. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about some vocal yoga. That was quite an intro. Thank you. I'm laughing here.
And we have some of our Inner Circle members are here watching live. Hello, May. Nice to see you. I don't think May has missed any one of our lives so far. Thank you so much for being here. And we have Karina Chen here too. So hello. Thanks for sending that message. Okay, Amanda, first of all, tell us in your own words, how would you describe vocal yoga? What is it exactly?
Yeah, so really simply put, vocal yoga is combining modified yoga poses with traditional vocal exercises. So this is like going to a vocal class inside of a yoga class.
It's like best of both worlds.
It's like going to like the gym for your voice, basically. So we combine, basically, like I said, a yoga flow vinyasa class, asanas, poses for specific target areas of the voice. And we go through a whole hour's worth of poses, and there's some chanting, some singing, mostly a lot of discovery and play. It's pretty silly. Good for your body, it's good for your mind, your breath, all kinds of things. So it's a melding and blending of those two art forms, and I love it. So yeah.
That's fascinating. So when you say that it's like you're in a vocal lesson, but it's also like you're in a yoga lesson. So you're actually singing and chanting while you're doing the poses. Is that right? Or are you doing them separately?
No, so the separation between the voice and the body is kind of what sometimes gets in the way of vocalist issues. So this is combining what you would do in a vocal class or a vocal lesson, and you are now engaging your body in the singing, in the chanting, in the sounding, the vocalizing, instead of keeping the two separate, which they're not separate anyway. I think I read that when you sing, you engage about 100 muscles in the body.
Wow.
So this is just, you're just trying not to restrain that. So typically if you start a vocal lesson, you come into class, you stand in front of the piano or in front of your teacher, and you're usually very stiff. You have a lot of tension, and then you attempt to sing either vocalises or exercises, scales, and you don't know sometimes why you don't sound the way you want to sound. A lot of it has to do with your body connection or the disconnection you have with your body. So this is about connecting all the parts of the form, which is your breath, your mind, your body, your voice, all into one instrument, which is what it is,
Yes.
into one class without sort of separating it. I mean, it's good to separate once in a while and to have attention focus on a specific area of your body or something you're focusing on. But to have a class like this that you can go to, say, once a week or once a day, get all those things in one session in 1 hour. This is my new life goal.
That is amazing. I just think that's so fascinating to me. We have had separate conversations about this too. And both of us, we are performers. So we absolutely, the voice is not a separate entity from your body and also your mind. And I love that that incorporates that too, because I think people neglect that part and that piece, how it all really interacts with each other and influences each other. I mean, you can't go on stage nervous and tense and then expect to be able to sing as well as you normally would if you're not thinking those thoughts or you're not feeling those feelings. So it's amazing that there is something out there that specifically focuses on combining movement, the body movement. Is that right? Is this a very actively? Is it as active as yoga? Like you're on the mat and you're doing poses and you're holding. Is it similar?
Yeah. So you bring a mat or a towel. You're in kind of a big space or a big room. Obviously, you can have private classes. I've done group classes. And it's like taking a regular yoga class, and then we add on, like I said, all those traditional vocal exercises. It's an all levels class that I designed. So if you're not a yogi or you don't know yoga very well, I taught total beginners this class. It's for everybody. Poses can be modified. They can be up leveled. They can be made more difficult. They can be made more easy. The vocal exercises are like if you went to maybe your first or second vocal class. So I talk a little bit about anatomy, and it's really just about sort of discovering your body and discovering your voice. So nothing is too technical or too complicated or complex, unless, of course, you come more often and you would like to up level or make things more difficult, or you would like, say, private lessons, you would like to work on something specific. I have a lot of private clients that I know and work with as well that have a very specific goal in mind. But yeah, it is physical. Yes, definitely. It's not, you need space. You're making a lot of noise, a lot of silly, strange, crazy sounds. That was actually part of my difficulty finding a yoga studio to use and practice out of, because sometimes they were having meditation classes in the next room. And I said, yeah, this is not like a regular quiet yoga class. I said, we're going to be making a lot of noise. So that was kind of tricky. So yeah.
I can imagine for sure. I mean, even when we teach private lessons, just in vocal and singing classes, there's all kinds of funny sounds that we make, right? So yeah, that's an interesting problem to have, right? You can't find a yoga.
I had a lot of tilted heads going, what are you teaching? What do you want our studio for? It's nothing crazy, I swear.
Okay, so I'd love to know about your journey towards discovering vocal yoga. You know, when did you first hear about it? What are your thoughts when you first discovered it?
Yeah, so I mean, I grew up doing musical theater. So in musical theater, you are singing and dancing simultaneously. So for me, I never really separated my voice from my body. That was just kind of always how I performed. So when I went to university, I started taking what they call voice and movement classes. And those are foundational classes for all actors in the theater program. And I had a phenomenal professor named Joan Melton, and she taught my voice and movement classes. And she really sort of ignited my interest in how much your body and body connection influences your mind and your voice, and how you can harness it to your own ends and to create a better outcome if you're performing on stage or singing. And then I kind of held on to all that through university. I incorporated that into my own warm-ups and into my own practice as I went out and toured and performed and things like that. And I went and worked for you for a long time in Hong Kong. And I was a little bit, isolated in Asia because I was out there for 5 years. I didn't quite know what was going on, back in the US. Was anyone doing anything like this? I wasn't sure, but I knew that this is something I wanted to do. So I did a quick little Google search, like, this is what I want to teach. Is anyone else doing this? Can I, find somebody? If they're doing it, I'll work for them. And I ended up finding Heather Lyle, and Heather Lyle is the founder of Vocal Yoga. She created her own method, and I got certified with her last year in Los Angeles, and she's like the guru kind of of vocal yoga. So I took her course last summer, got certified, bought her book. Her book is amazing. And I worked with her a little bit, and we collaborated a little bit, and yeah, got certified. And so I've been teaching on my own now for about the past 6 months, holding workshops and classes throughout Southern California. And then, of course, I was having a class coming up in March, and then everything closed. We couldn't be in spaces. So that kind of took a hold. But it was okay, because in the meantime, I got my actual 200-hour yoga certification in the meantime. And so now I'm actually a registered yoga instructor as well. So now I have all of that training in addition to my vocal yoga training.
That is amazing. During this time, so that's interesting that something in you were already combining these elements, but I guess you had to find a place that actually, formalized it.
Yeah, just a little more structure. I had already had, like I said, my own practice and a lot of university classes that I had already taken. So I had a lot of structure to deal with, but this just gave it way more form. And then, of course, finishing my yoga certification, now I have all of the yoga, not all of it. Obviously, it's, it's just the beginning for me, this journey, but now I have a lot more foundation in just the practice of yoga and pranayama and breathing exercises and all that other stuff, in addition to my singing training. And a lot of my, knowledge and training came from you. So I always thank you for all of that.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, I love it.
Amazing. I want to know what was one of the most surprising things that vocal yoga has taught you, just on a personal level? So I know that you've been teaching for a while. I'm sure you have lots of stories about transformation there with your students, but I'd love to know you personally, how has that, I mean, you've been doing it for a while, but studying it formally and then maybe even teaching it, how has that transformed you?
Yeah, so the more I got into sort of the journey of yoga, I was not a yoga person. I actually it's odd. I really resisted yoga. I don't know why. There was something in me that sort of resisted it. I don't know why. Maybe just because I came from dance, and so I just would dance instead of doing another form of exercise. So I got into yoga, pretty heavily this past 2 years or so, and it's just opened up my eyes to how similar yoga is to what we want to accomplish as singing artists, that are so similar, and they combine so well, that I feel like this should be something that almost all artists or singers or performers do, or really anybody that just has a voice. I've taught teachers, public speakers, anybody who wants to use their voice in a more efficient manner can use this kind of a class to enhance their daily efficiency and go out and use their voice to the top, their optimal ability.
That's so when you say that you were resistant to yoga and then you somehow, for some reason, you got into it, right? What was that transition? Why all of a sudden? It was just something that it was in your head, or you saw a class? I mean, what was that moment where you thought, oh, let's try this?
Yeah, so part of it was coming back to LA and then doing the vocal certification. So with the vocal yoga certification, we did learn a lot of asanas and poses. So I did learn a lot about yoga there, and that's where it sort of piqued my interest. Well, if I'm going to be teaching these classes, I need to know a lot more about yoga,
Yes.
form, alignment. I just wanted the knowledge to make sure I was doing everything safely, and then to obviously enhance other people's practice and my students' practice. So then I decided I really need to take this seriously, went into my 200 hours, which was quite long. 200 hours doesn't seem like a long time, but it's a lot of hours. And then I just fell in love with all of the ideas. Yoga's 5,000 years old, and it's existed for a reason. And the benefits are just enormous. And so much of yoga is attached to the breath. Yes. And the breath is what we use to create a specific outcome in yoga. So we want to use our breath to either invigorate. We can use like the breath of fire to create like an invigorated mood. We can use breath to calm and center ourselves. And it's the exact same thing we do as singers. We use our breath to carry our voice to, again, express ourselves through song or through words. So we're using the exact same life force. It's like getting very yoga-ish now, but it's the same life force. It's the same prana. It's the same energy we use for yoga that we use as singers. And it's just one big connected ball of, energy.
I love that you describe it as energy, because I always believed also that, singing and voice is a form of energy, and that you're sharing that energy out with somebody else. And that's when people say, I feel what you're saying. Or, when you're captivated by a speaker, or you're captivated by a performer, there is a special connection there. And I do 100% believe that it is that energy coming out. And I also love that you're talking about yoga and singing as being sort of natural partners. Because a couple years ago, I was actually teaching we were swapping lessons. So I had a friend who was a yoga instructor, and then she wanted to learn voice lessons, and I wanted to do yoga classes. So we would swap services at that time. It was a few years ago. And we kept talking about how, oh my gosh, this is exactly the same thing that I teach my students. And she would say the same thing. And there was a lot of crossover. So I totally see that. So you were talking a little bit about the benefits of vocal yoga. Can you talk a little bit more about, maybe some of the biggest transformations that you've seen in some of your students? Do you have any stories that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, so the students that I've had that have taken my class have usually been either my vocal students, or people that I know, or teachers, or people that were just sort of in the community that were interested. The biggest benefit you can get out of that class, my biggest thing is when you come in, is my goal for you is to feel that there is a connection between your breath, your mind, and your voice, and your body. So many times people walk around and they're thinking in their head, or they're feeling in their body, and they don't take a moment just to sort of have a little bit of mindfulness and focus inward a little bit. So when you come in, you take an hour to just really focus on your body. You check in, you kind of do a body scan and see where you are mentally, where you are physically. And just that simple act of calming down and taking your attention inward raises your awareness in all other parts of your day, or going to work, or going to the gym, or going back home to your family. So yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I want is the connection, and then also just the discovery. It's really fun. I mean, we're talking like very serious about it right now, but it's just super fun, and we laugh the whole time. It's not, I'm not lighting candles. It's not. I mean, it can be, and I do have a candle behind me, but it can definitely be a spiritual thing. But it's really about play and discovery, and using your voice in unique and different ways. So what we do with the physical postures and the physical poses is you are getting to use your voice in ways that you won't get to use, first of all, in the regular part of your day. But even going to, say, a traditional vocal class, you may not use your full range of motion in your body, certainly, and you won't maybe use your full range with your voice, because maybe you're working on something very specific, you have a very specific voice type, you're in one little octave or something. So this is just about playing, discovering, seeing what your voice is like. And yeah, so far I've had really good feedback from all of my students that they've enjoyed it, which I was kind of shocked because I said, give me feedback afterwards. Tell me what you think. Am I nuts for doing this? So far, everyone has said that they loved it. They would come again. I go, okay, all right, well, I will definitely keep doing it then.
That's great. Can you, I want to talk a little bit about, because when you were talking about mindfulness and the body scan, I had a lot of students and who had, you know, when they knew that I was bringing you on to this for an interview, some of them were asking me about stage fright, anxiety, you know, just fear of going on stage, that piece, and how, you know, does vocal yoga have a lot of influence on that?
Yes, 100%. So again, going back to using the breath to create a specific outcome. This is what we do in yoga. And this is also, we don't do enough of this in voice, right? So as a coach, you're a coach, I'm a coach, we've been coaching for a long time. We spend so much time on technique, words, lyrics, language, you know, proper alignment. We don't really spend a lot of time on the mental side of singing. And it's such a huge component.
Huge.
Your voice and your vocal folds are connected to your vagus nerve, which runs through your whole body. Your vagus nerve connects to your autonomic nervous system. So if you go into fight or flight or freeze mode, which is your sympathetic nervous system, that is stage fright. So that is you getting ready to go on stage, whether it's singing or doing a speech, talking at a wedding, in front of your classroom. You're getting up and you are in fight or flight mode. So there are ways to get yourself out of that fight or flight mode back into the parasympathetic mode, which is the rest and digest, calm. That's where you want to be when you're singing. And the way to that is through breath work and pranayama exercises, which is literally translates to breath restraint or breath control exercises. So as you control your breath, you control your mind. And as your mind is under control, your body is under control, then you can go on stage and give the performance that you know you can do because you did it in the rehearsal room. So this is
so true.
Yeah. So yeah, it was so good in the practice room in my college upstairs, you know, when everybody was watching me.
We hear that all the time. All the time we hear that. Yes. Yes.
So
I mean,
even us personally, right? Of controlling your mind and body and breath for the moment. So giving basically you the tools to do this when you really need it. And then I also do a few body exercises that help to relax your body as well from the outside in. So there's inside out, which is the breath and mind work or the mantra work or whatever. And then you can go from outside in and you can do some actual physical exercises that in turn also changes your mindset. So there's lots of different ways to do it. Vocal yoga 100% is helpful in that regard. And it helped me so much. And I'm glad I discovered it so late in my career. But luckily I never had stage fright. So I'm lucky with that.
You never had stage fright?
No. So you know what? I got stage fright later as an adult, like super, super late. Growing up, I just never had a single care in the world. No stage fright, zero. You know, I could go on and perform. I think my top audience was like 7,000 people at the Wolf Shop outdoors and the outside in bowls. Never bothered me a single bit. And then later, you know, once I got a little older, then I was like, maybe I should be nervous for some of these performances. I did, you know, a show in Hong Kong. I did the premiere of Xanadu. And that was like years after I stopped doing musical theater. And I was on roller skates, you know, because you saw me.
I did.
And I was really nervous for that show because it'd been a long time. And that was a kind of intimate theater. So that's kind of when stage fright kicked in. So now I feel like I better understand my students because now I have lived both. So I'm better now informed of how to help people get out of it.
So I just real quickly, I just want to know, what do you think where does that come from? I mean, I understand the fight or flight mode. But even for people who are not performing, maybe they're going on, maybe even doing their first Facebook Live, you know, for some people going live for the first time online, or even some people get nervous going on a Zoom call.
Sure. Yeah. This is like the new normal. Yeah. And this is I've had so many students tell me that they are so uncomfortable being on camera. Even in my Zoom meetings with my students doing master classes, some of them have just had their camera off and they're just listening to what I'm saying because they just don't want to be seen. They don't like talking. They don't want to raise their hand. A lot of kids running into this problem in school, in university. I totally understand it. This is all very intrusive. All of this like camera work and we're not used to seeing our own faces while we speak.
I think that's what it is, you know?
It really is. And we're also, we're not used to being so observant. So my students know very well that I make them look at themselves a lot. I'm always telling them, look in the mirror, and especially on Zoom, I said, look at yourself in this camera because you need to know what I'm seeing. You need to know what the audience is seeing. You have to be aware. It's not pleasant, but you're not there to judge. You're just there to be aware. We're not in the judgment zone. We're just in the awareness zone. And you need to know what it is you're doing so that you can fix those habits that you may see. If you don't know what you're doing, it's really hard to fix it. And so I think that's where a lot of the nerves come in. People are like all of a sudden looking at themselves on camera and they've never had to see or hear themselves. Like nobody likes to listen to themselves on a recording or to themselves singing, most people. So it's the exact same concept, and we're all having a big, identity crisis at this moment, I think.
I believe it. And it's so interesting that you say that, because even with my inner circle members, one of the biggest things that is a huge component of, what we do is teaching them how to practice by recording themselves and reviewing it, but not in a judgmental way that like you said, but more of an awareness and taking note of some of the habits that you're doing that we don't even realize that we're doing. I mean, we do it too. It's not that vocal coaches are immune to this stuff. we still need to be practicing in this way all the time. So I love that you said that, because it aligns so much with what we're doing also in the inner circle membership. So it's just
too hard on ourselves. You have to know that you are your own worst critic. You're your own worst judge. Nobody is judging you the way you are judging you. And we all just need to be a lot less hard on ourselves, a lot less pressure, and just, we have enough stress right now in the world and what's going on. So, I really just want to use vocal yoga, voice lessons, all of this stuff as an outlet for people to take an hour out of their week to focus on themselves. I'm telling all my students, this may not feel like the most important thing we can be doing right now, but they come to their lessons because they know that this is an hour of me time where they can focus on themselves, listen to their voices, work on their career, self-development, where it's not a selfish thing, it's self-care. So Absolutely. Just doing a little bit of self-care, because then you can be your best when you need to be. You can go out there into the world and help the people you want to help, do the things you want to do, say the things you want to say. And especially to our vocal students, this is, we've never had such a moment of your voice counts, your voice is important. And we are teaching people to use their voices in an efficient, healthy, sustainable way. I can't really think of anything more important right now. So, sometimes they're like, oh, I didn't feel like coming to my lesson today. I was too stressed out. But I remind them that you're here working on your instrument, on your body and on your mind, so that way you can be the best you outside in the world, because you can't take care of other people unless you take care of yourself. So it's just kind of my little tips that I'm giving some of my students to put everything in perspective, because we just need to keep things in perspective. What is important right now? What is not important? And keep ourselves, focused on kind of like growth in the moment and being there for each other and all that kind of stuff. So.
I love that. I love that. You just gave me goosebumps. I love that. Okay, I love that. It's not selfish. It's self-care. I love that. Well, I want to just pop into, there's been a couple comments and questions here. Julia is asking, where can you study vocal yoga? Oh, we'll get to that in a second. You can learn from Amanda. We'll get to that in a second. And Karina's saying, oh, she used to live in LA as well. Ben, no one is popping up on the screen here. Oh, I'm not sure what's going on there, Ben.
Hopefully everyone else has seen us this whole time.
I know, I'm saying, I'm like,
it's not even a blank screen with just audio. Yeah.
Is vocal yoga similar to Alexander technique? Okay, great question.
Yeah, so Alexander technique and Feldenkrais, and there's so many different types of Suzuki, of movement type of art forms that have gone through, history. Alexander technique is very similar, but Alexander technique is a lot less physical and it works a lot more with alignment. So like even Pilates, you can go to like a Pilates class, and Pilates is very much about proper alignment. This is way more about more active movement, and it's a lot more about freedom. So while alignment's definitely important, Alexander technique focuses a lot more on like the spine. And so I would say if you have like an injury, so a lot of people who have injuries or things like that go to things like Alexander technique. And they have a lot of success in those types of techniques for like, I have a neck thing or my back hurts. What can I do for that? Yoga does help, but if you get really specific, things like Alexander technique can be really helpful.
Okay, great. So yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Solara's saying she was a ballroom dancer for a long time, and I also have massive resistance to yoga. I guess I find it boring when I'm just holding a pose. I feel impatient. Oh, that's interesting, because Amanda, you just said that it's actually very active.
So vocal yoga is very active, but if you go to like say a yoga class, you go to like a yin yoga class or a gentle flow, you may have just had the wrong yoga class, because trust me, there are some ones that you just want to like go, this is too much for me. So it depends on your level of energy and what you're looking to get out of it. If you're looking for a real gentle class to really just calm yourself down, you can go to that type of yoga class. But yeah, if you're a dancer, especially a ballroom dancer, you have tons of energy. Something like vocal yoga would be much more probably to your energy terms. Yeah, so I feel you on that. That's maybe that's why I resisted too. I couldn't handle the contained energy.
Yes. Michelle says, "Oh, fascinating. I never really thought of it that way. Great to hear these insights." Okay, great. Glad that you found this interesting, Michelle. And oh, she's actually written again. She loves this because she's listening to us and then she's responding as she says, totally makes sense how these two are connected. It's so true. When you tell somebody vocal yoga, you're right, Amanda, you might get that little tilted head thing, right? But yeah. But when you describe it the way that you have, it is absolutely so it makes a lot of sense, exactly what Michelle said. And Solara says here, I hate being on stage, being stared at. The worst part is doing competition and being judged. Yes, and that is definitely a huge component of that too. Absolutely, that judgment part does have such an impact on a person's
and that's why getting into yoga and vocal yoga, it takes a lot of attention off of yourself. So obviously, as artists, as singers, as dancers, we are very used to ourselves, looking at ourselves. What am I doing? What am I feeling? It's very us-centered. And even yoga can be, you're going inwards, you're focusing on your inner self. How am I feeling? How am I doing? But there's a component to it that is above yourself. So if not even to get into a spiritual or religious area, yoga is about something that is bigger than you or above you or more powerful than you. And we are trying to elicit as singers that exact same thing. We want to go on stage as a dancer, as a singer, and we want to create an environment where people are in awe, they're forgetting about their worries for a while, they're taken away to another place. It's a place of mindfulness, it's meditation, it's called being in the zone. We call it flow state is another term for it. All of these things are what we want to experience as performers, and then we want that to pass on to our audience or to who we're trying to affect and perform for. So, the self-judgment, all of that has to go to a higher reason. So it's really good to focus on yoga and vocal yoga in order to take yourself out of the judgment zone and into the kind of creation zone.
I love that. I'm in a business mentoring program right now as well. And a lot of that is, when you get stuck as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you get stuck and because you're thinking about yourself, you're forgetting that it's not about you. It's about the people that you serve. It's about that, right? It's not about, what you're afraid of, is but how you can serve others and how you can be there for the purpose, for a higher purpose, like you put. Ophelia, hello, Ophelia has just asked a question. I know, no silly questions. Will you be losing weight when you do vocal yoga? That's a great question. I'd love to know that.
It depends on how much vocal yoga you're doing. So, any type of exercise, if let's say you're doing no exercise at all, and all of a sudden you start doing vocal yoga or yoga in general, You could potentially lose weight, definitely. I know yoga for me has kind of transformed my body. So I always danced, I sort of lifted weights. I thought that these were the things that really helped my body, but actually using my own weight against my own body was sort of the best exercise for you because it's extremely low impact. It's very safe. There's very little risk of injury, of falling. There's no heavy things to fall on you. There's no, injuries mostly to your back. So it's a very safe exercise, and this is why it's lasted for so long, because the risk of injury is so low. So even in a class, if somebody falls out of a pose, I'm not going to run out. They're just going to fall to, like, their foot's just going to come down off the mat. So it's really not a big deal.
Right.
Whereas if you're going to the gym, you're lifting heavy weights, you're on those machines, there is a high chance of getting injury. It's a high risk activity. So with any type of yoga, definitely depends on how much you do. You can definitely lose weight. I definitely did a little bit. So yes.
Okay. Before we wrap up, I have a couple things that I'm hoping that you can share with our viewers. Is what are some of the common habits that we are unconsciously doing that's actually impacting the quality of our voices? Because we talked about things that unconscious habits. We talked about not realizing things in that awareness piece. So what are some of the most common ones that you know to be true for many people?
Yeah, so I would just say right now, if anyone is listening or watching, what is your jaw doing right now? What is your tongue doing in your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
What are your hands doing right now? What is your body doing? Are you hunched over? Are your abs engaged? So most people go through life in a holding pattern with tension and what we kind of call body armoring, right? So we are designed for defense. Our bodies are designed for defending ourselves against everything in the world, be it verbal, be it an attack, be it a lion, whatever it is.
COVID.
So, yes, especially now. So we are designed to survive. So our bodies are designed to take in stress where we don't even know we're getting it. Tension, we're retaining tension where we don't even know we have it. So just doing a quick body scan of yourself, going from head to toe and seeing where am I holding tension. So many people have tension, and my students know this also well. Releasing the face, relaxing the face, letting the face be soft. Nobody wants to sing like this or talk like this. We have so much tension just in our everyday lives that we just hold on to just as body armor. And that is the number one reason why vocal yoga, the shoulders, the neck, you can just go on and on. And this interferes with all the efficiency, all the alignment when we sing.
Or speak, for that matter.
Yeah, or using our voices in general. Yeah, yes. So this gets in the way of just basic body efficiency. So if we want to be efficient and use our voices and bodies in an optimal way, we want to get rid of all that tension.
Can we go through a body scan or something like that? I mean, what do you normally do with your students? It's something we can do together as a community right now with those who are listening and watching right now.
Yeah, so if you're sitting down, just so you would just take your hands and just place them lightly on your thighs. And if you would like to, you can close your eyes gently. And you just want to sit nice and tall up on your sit bones and elongate your neck and just start breathing in slowly through your nose and also out through your nose. And just take your mind first to your feet and to your toes. And just imagine them and just relax them. And then take your mind now to your ankles and let those relax. You're going to come up to your calves and your knees and your thighs. So if you're holding tension in your inner thighs, let your legs just relax. Let them open wherever they lay. You're going to come up now to the most important part, your stomach, your abs. Are you holding in your belly? Guaranteed you probably are. So let your belly relax so you can take a really deep, low, diaphragmatic belly breath. And your belly can expand in and out as you inhale and exhale. Now you're going to come up to your shoulders. Let them feel a little bit heavy. Let them relax. Come up to your head and neck. You can maybe just wave side to side. like a little bobblehead. See if you have any tension there. Now you're going to come up to your jaw, to your mandible, and you're just going to release it. So your teeth are not touching. So your jaw is nice and long and just release. Now we're going to come up to the eyes. It's a weird place that we hold tension, but we do. The back of our eyes, our forehead, our eyebrows. So we're going to focus on our third eye, which is our eye that we have right in the center of our eyebrow. This is where we do all of our unconscious spiritual thinking. And we're going to focus right there and breathing in and out and relaxing and releasing all of the muscles in our body. And just doing a quick check-in to see where the tension is, if you have any left. And you can open your eyes.
That was amazing.
That was very on the spot, Krystal, but yeah.
I know, I totally didn't plan that part.
Well, that was like a quick body scan, right? So that was like a very simple little mindfulness, little meditation that you can do before you start any sort of practice. So you always want an intention or a goal before you start yoga, or before you go into a practice room, or before you go into a vocal lesson. Don't just walk in and go, okay, teacher, what do you have for me today? Right?
I love that, yes.
Which is what most of our students do. Yes. So you go in with an intention, you go in with a goal, and you do just that simple little mindfulness, maybe on the way to in the car, or maybe sitting in the lobby waiting to walk in, and just check in with your body and say, what does my body need today? Where is my mind at today? Just bring your awareness in and see, okay, if your mind is flustered, you're thinking too much. Okay, maybe I need to focus on something a little bit calmer. I'm really lethargic today. I'm really tired. Maybe I need something a little with a pep me up, a little more energy, and then you can go from there. And that's also a good way you can think about how you want to take an exercise class. What type of yoga class do you want today? What kind of song do you want to work on today? Oh, I need something like super up tempo because I'm going to fall asleep or something. Yeah, just put in a little bit of time and effort before you go into any sort of practice with just a little bit of intention. And that just really just gives you a focus and a goal throughout that entire class, which we have as teachers for our students, but it's also really beneficial for the students to come in with a goal as well.
Thank you so much. That is amazing. And I love that you said that again, because intention is a word that we use all the time in the inner circle. We're always talking about intentional practices. So again, there's so much alignment there. So Amanda, I know people are wondering, how can they get hold of you? How can they work with you? Where can they follow your work? Let us know.
Yeah, like everyone, I'm online. So, email is probably the best way to get a hold of me. My website has all of my contact, all of my social, media links.
In the link below. Yeah.
Yeah, just email. My website has everything, so you can contact me everywhere.
And what's next for you? I know that you're organizing something special in July.
Oh, July, yeah. So I may be doing a virtual vocal yoga class, kind of a little taste. So it would be like a 30-minute session. I may be doing that in July, so it'll be open to everyone. So the public, I think Zoom can have like 100 participants or something like that, just to give people a taste of what that's like before we get back into in-person classes, in studios and stuff like that, which hopefully we will. And I would really love to do a workshop with you at the studio next year sometime in Hong Kong.
Yes.
It's been so long. But yeah, this is basically what I want to do, and travel and teach classes and workshops and get this out to as many people as possible. I just found my little niche, and this is what the direction I feel like I want to go with the voice. There's so many different avenues that you could go. And I think that sitting, incorporating the mind, the body with the dancing and the physical, the yoga is definitely where I want to live.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom with us all. And again, everybody, if you're interested in learning more about the Online Vocal Academy, and also if you're interested in working with Amanda, all the links are in this video in the comment box below, so you can check them out. Thank you so much for tuning in live. And for our Inner Circle members, we will be back in like a minute. Okay, so go on to the second, you'll be able to stream us live on the second link that I would have sent you in your email. So we'll see all our Inner Circle members in a little bit. And to everyone else, see you next time. Thank you so much, Amanda. And we'll get up to. Goodbye.